Sup YouTubes. Just wanted to make another quick video about the Taco. Today we're going to be camping, going to be pulling a trailer for the first time with the new truck. So I figured to make a quick video about that. I might update as I get through my day here of hitching it up, driving, what it's like, gas mileage, all that stuff. So stay tuned if you're interested in towing, and I'll try to give some pertinent information. All right, we got the 24 TRD Sport. I recently did an oil change on this vehicle and I put a video up, so if you are interested in a how-to video, kind of not the best how-to video, but nonetheless I put a video together on how to do an oil change. Check that out on my channel. I'm gonna be pulling our vintage cruiser. I think this camper dries 3,400 pounds, and with our stuff in it, it's probably more like 4,000, 4,200. I believe the tongue weight is around 480 pounds, and with our shit in it, it's probably closer to like 500, 520, something like that, 530, which is all well under the limits of the Tacoma. Yeah, so we're going to Pennsylvania. I live in New York. We're heading south down to Pennsylvania, Cook Forest, PA. It's about a 3-hour and 10-minute drive from my house. I am a pretty conservative guy when I tow. I try to take it easy, take my time. I'm not in a rush. I got a kid and a wife with me, so you know, no rush. Leave plenty of time to spare early in the day. You know, I try to keep it like 55, 60 tops. I don't like driving real fast with the trailer. I'm using a weight distribution hitch, the Anderson hitch. I might show that briefly once I get everything hitched up. But yeah, this is gonna be the first time towing with the truck. I have towed before with my wife's Telluride over there, and it gets the job done, but I don't know, it's not the best, especially on grades. If there's like a steep hill, it struggles slightly. So curious to see how this does with the 4-cylinder turbo. I've taken a few camping trips this year, and I've had the Taco sitting at home in the driveway while towing with the Telluride, because the owner's manual says don't tow before 500 miles, which I did not. And then it says from 500 to 1,000 miles, don't exceed, I think it was 50 miles an hour. And, you know, like I said, I go 55, 60, and some of the roads I'm on, going less than 55, 60 is probably not the smartest move. I got to get out of the Buffalo, New York area, and the roads there are 65 plus. Everybody goes 75, 80. So going 50 on a road like that would not be smart. So I've kept it in the driveway, and, you know, I've been trying to be a good boy. I don't want to, you know, I want to obey all the owner's manual break-in recommendations. Hope to keep this truck a long time, so I'm trying to do it right. I did do the, as I mentioned, 1,000-mile oil change on this before. I really wanted to get an oil change in before I pulled this thing. Something about the oil from the manufacturer sitting in the engine as I'm putting the engine under, you know, a good load with a trailer didn't seem like a wise move to me. So I recently did the oil change. But yeah, I'll update this as we go along throughout the day. I'm gonna get hitched up here shortly, get the wife and kid packed up, and let's hit the road. I'll try to do a few updates. All right, thanks for watching. Let's get into this. Bye for now. All right, we're all hitched up. It's about ready to go. Definitely got a little, I think, a tire in the front, a little sag in the rear. So I bought the Sport because I don't off-road at all. I have no intention of off-roading anytime soon. I'm sure it's a really good time, but I bought this truck pretty much just to have, you know, something to pull my camper with and just to have a truck. I was under the impression that the Sport suspension is a little bit stiffer than the off-road suspension, and this thing definitely compressed as I hooked it up, which is to be expected. I would imagine that the off-road would compress even more, so I'm glad I have the Sport. Got the Anderson hitch here. One way to stop so much sag in the back would be to tighten up these back here which I may do. I might give those another turn or two on each side. That should get the back end up a little bit more, throw some more weight forward under the front wheels and the axle of the camper. Hooking it up was pretty straightforward. I plugged in the 7-pin, I had the engine off. Once I got in, I just hit the start button and it immediately detected a trailer and said, would you like to add a new trailer? I said yes, selected camper, and it pretty much just runs you through everything. Like it knew what to do, so I didn't really have to do any menu diving. It was all on the screen already for me, which is great. Trying to think what else. So one of the things I didn't mention in my last video, it is a scorching hot weekend here in the Northeast. We usually don't get temps much above 80, 90, and it's like, I think it's gonna be 95 all weekend. The owner's manual says that in high temps above 85 degrees on steep grades, the engine may overheat. I'm not sure what steep grades means. Assuming that when they say steep grades in the owner's manual, they're talking, you know, out west, Colorado, big hills, mountains. We don't have any huge mountains here, but I know the route that I take, the 219 down through the southern tier of western New York, there are some pretty big hills. I know the Telluride has struggled at times getting up some of them. I'm assuming this will be better, but I'll keep my eye on the temp gauge. I like the features in this car because you can select like a full readout from engine oil, coolant temp, or engine oil temp, coolant temp, transmission temp. I'm gonna have all of that on the screen at all times as I drive, and I'll keep an eye on that, make sure nothing goes into the red. Otherwise, I'm pretty excited here. I'm melting. It's very, very warm. So I'm excited to get in the car. Use the AC. Hopefully it doesn't overheat the engine. It says in the manual, if you notice the engine overheating, immediately turn the air conditioning off, which I'll do. But yeah, we're pretty much ready to roll here. I'll be back for more. Keep you posted about gas mileage, which I'm sure is going to be piss poor, and just how it does on the road, how it pulls up hills, all that stuff. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll have more coming at you. Okay, cruising through Allegheny National Forest. Just wanted to give a quick update about towing. The last gas stop, I checked the average of the drive. I think we'd done about 100 miles, about 2 hours of driving, and it said that I was averaging 13.3 miles per gallon. That's according to the car computer. So, you know, not great, not awful. I've had tow haul mode on for the entire drive. I don't know how I feel about tow haul. It seems to, obviously it's hanging on to revs, so it's giving me more RPMs, more power for pulling a trailer. But it does seem like there's times where I'm on a flat, like when we're in the mountains and we're in some grades, I appreciate having the higher RPM because it helps pull better. But there have been a few times where we've been on like very flat roads and it's just holding the RPMs at about 2,000 plus, which normally I feel like it'd be about 1,500. I turned tow haul off at one point, but then it got a little shifty, started kind of gear hunting. So I don't really know what the answer is. I guess I've just been keeping it in tow haul. Now that I'm in the mountains too, it's a little bit more hilly, so obviously getting a benefit from tow haul. All of my temp gauges have been pretty much smack in the middle. Coolant, bottom left, has been right in the middle. And then top right, oil. I saw my oil temp creep up very slightly on one of the steeper grades that we climbed, but it was not concerning. It just went up like a tiny little bit. Transmission's been right in the middle, cool. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're about 30 minutes from camp. I have very limited experience towing anything. As I said earlier in the video, I've only towed with my wife's Kia Telluride. I know I keep comparing this car to that because that's my only basis for comparison that I have. But this truck is doing much better at towing. It feels much more comfortable. I've read online, I've heard people say something like, oh, I was towing and I didn't even know there was a camper behind me. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but close. I mean, it's been really good. No issues that I can say at all. Performing very well. So I'll give another update once we get to camp. And yeah, keep watching. Thanks for watching. All right, little update. The camping trip. 24 TRD Sport, Tacoma, obviously. Thing did great towing. Did really well on grades. It pulled really good. Miles per gallon were about 13.3, 13.5, around there. Did great over bumps. I mean, I know I have a weight distribution hitch, which helps absorb some bouncing. I've noticed with this camper, with the other vehicle that I tow with, I've noticed some porpoising where it kind of goes like that as you go over bumps. I didn't notice that much in this with the truck at all. Yeah, just did really well. Very happy I made the decision to buy one of these. I pretty much bought it so I'd have something better to tow with, and it's working out great so far. One comment about these mud guards. These are the mud guards that came with the truck, like the factory mud guards. And I wasn't driving in, like, I mean, there are some gravel roads I've been on, but the one parking lot we parked in is a gravel parking lot. There's one little section that had some mud, and I happened to park right in the mud. And then as I was leaving, the front tire's flinging mud all down the side of the truck and all over this fender flare here. I mean, it does stick out a little bit. I know I've seen other YouTube videos where people have been commenting on this area here getting all torn up with rocks. I mean, you can see what it's doing with mud. It's just flinging mud all over the fender flare. There is PPF from the factory. It stops right here. You can probably see that. And obviously, there's a whole bunch of spatter above the factory PPF line. So that's definitely something to think about. I mean, it might be worth PPFing like all the way up to the gas cap there. I saw one YouTuber, I think it was Rodney's Northwest Rides and Reviews. He was saying that when he does a gravel road, he'll stop at the end of the road when he hits pavement. He'll stop and he'll pick out all the rocks out of the tires because they do get flung. I'm assuming the front, I don't know how bad the back would be, but the front tires are definitely a concern. If you got little rocks in the tread and then you get up to speed, it's happened multiple times on this trip where as I'm driving, I'm like accelerating and hear tink, tink, tink on the underside of the truck, on the doors, on the fender flare. So yeah, not great. I don't know if like an oversized fender that, like, instead of like coming like this, maybe like coming out a little bit more would help, like a mud flap. So I don't know. But yeah, those are my comments at this point. If there's anything else comes up, I will add more to it. Maybe I'll give a camping trip wrap up when I get back to my driveway at home. Final thoughts. But as of now, I'm giving this thing an A. I'm sure if I had a Tundra or a larger truck, it'd be an A+, but for my purposes, this thing is doing great. Definitely a solid A for towing a small camper. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll probably give my final thoughts when I get home. If not, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Bye-bye. And we made it back home. Just wanted to offer a few final thoughts on towing with the Tacoma, my initial impressions. Overall, great setup for a smallish camper, 3,400 pounds dry, single axle. This truck is great. It does great. Pulls really well. I've already said multiple times so far in these different clips that I've filmed, about 13 and a half, maybe a little less, 13.3 miles per gallon, which isn't bad. The trip was about 3.5 hours down to camp and 3.5 hours back, and almost all of that was in the upper 80s, lower 90s temperatures, and the truck did fine. I didn't notice any heat issues. I didn't notice any. Transmission was perfectly stable the entire time. Coolant was stable. As I mentioned in one of the clips, I saw the oil temp creep up just like the slightest amount on one of the steeper grades. So a little tiny bit of oil heat, but overall it was dead center in the normal zone. About to wash the car. Got my stuff already here. I'm probably gonna film some more videos about the truck, some different things I've noticed that I haven't really seen on other videos. I kind of figured I'd offer my 2 cents. I always prefer watching owners' videos as opposed to like the sales dudes standing in the Toyota dealership parking lot. Those are bullshit. If you're watching those videos, you're wasting your time. What was I gonna say? Oh, so tow haul. I had it in tow haul almost the entire time, and I definitely see the benefit of tow haul, as I've said in another clip. When you're in hills and it's up and a lot of up and down, or stop and go, like pulling from a stop, tow haul is a big help. It definitely gets the truck up and moving a lot better. But I did notice, like, if you're just cruising at, let's say the speed limit's 55 and you're doing 55, 60, and it's like a pretty like flat road, tow haul seems a bit excessive to me. Like, it just holds the RPMs. It's almost like it keeps it in one gear lower, or I'm sorry, yeah, one gear lower than it needs to be. It could like shift up one gear and the RPMs could drop down and let the engine, I don't know, run at a slightly lower RPM. Tow haul seems to just like hold the revs higher, keep you in a lower gear. And like I said, for a lot of the time, tow haul, lower gear driving is good. It's a benefit, but when you're just cruising on a flat road, it just seems like I'm just revving the engine more than I want to be or need to be. I don't know if anybody has any comments or opinions on tow haul mode, with like holding on to revs and like keeping it in a lower gear. Feel free to comment. What are your thoughts? Like I said, I feel like most of the time it was a benefit, so I kept it in tow haul for most of the ride. It did pretty good over bumps. The Anderson hitch that I've got seemed to keep everything pretty steady. I didn't notice any sway. I don't know if that's because the trailer's kind of small or the anti-sway Anderson hitch, the weight distribution hitch, but I didn't notice any sway at all. A couple 18-wheelers passed me when I was going about 60. It was rock solid, no movement, nothing. So, you know, if you're in the market for a small pickup truck that is going to tow a smallish camper, I mean, this is a relatively small camper compared to some of them, I would say the Tacoma is a great option. Obviously, new generation, we don't know what the longevity of the 4-cylinder turbo is going to be. You know, I gambled. I'm not too concerned. I think it's going to be all right. As I said in my oil change video that I put up, I plan on changing the oil on this thing at 5,000 mile intervals pretty consistently, maybe less. If I'm towing a bunch, I might do a 4,000 mile interval. And you know, I'm going to follow the manufacturer's recommendations. So like front and rear differential oil is 30,000 mile intervals, 15,000 severe. I'm going to do the 15,000 intervals just because, oh, I gotta be swarming me. Whoa. I'm going to do the 15,000 intervals just because I'm going to be pulling a camper quite often with this thing and don't want to have any premature wear or whatever in the front and rear differentials. I'm going to try to keep this channel fairly up to date. Like I said, I'm going to post anything that comes up. There's a couple things that I want to talk about with this truck. Some minor things, nothing crazy. A couple things I like. A couple things I'm kind of annoyed about. Like, again, it's nothing crazy. It's not like a make or break scenario. Just like little nitpicks. And I don't know if the towing video that I'm putting together here is really the right place to be talking about the little nitpicks. So yeah, stay tuned if you're interested in Tacoma content. I'm going to try to put out some, you know, reasonable videos. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to be towing a bunch this summer with this thing. I've got a bunch of camping trips planned. I have a trip planned from here to the Adirondacks, and that's about a 6-hour one-way or 7-hour one-way tow. So that's going to be like a big haul, the long haul. So I'll probably try to make a video about that. You know, keep everyone updated on how it's doing with towing, and if there's any issues, I will post them here. Hopefully I don't have any issues. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned for more content. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye. Bonus footage. Freshly washed Tacoma. Bronze oxide is definitely the best color of the 24s. If you think it's another color, you're wrong.